This is Chip Codroach, and if you haven't guessed it already by my surrounding friends here, I am reviewing the 1984 classic Ghostbusters. And I'm already you can pretty much tell already what I pretty much think of this movie. So, in 1984, there was just a surrounding of good movies that year. To name a few, you have The River, The Karate Kid, Splash, 1984, I guess Meatballs Part 2, just to make some money. Oh boy, what else came out? There was a bunch. I'll get to that later. So this, of course, was directed by Ivan Reitman. You had a great cast in this. Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis. There was also John Atherton, who was sort of a 1980s legend for whatever reason. Sigourney Weaver, Rick Moranis. And and then Ernie Hudson, who came in later as Winston. Bill Murray, we know him from Saturday Night Live. He was in Meatballs, Groundhog Day.
Which was Bill Murray?
The one you don't like.
Oh.
Peter Venkman.
Oh, okay.
And so let's see. So, oh yes, what about Bob and Dan Aykroyd? We know him from Saturday Night Live. The Blues Brothers 2000, My Girl.
What's with the face when you say that?
To have a movie that you've heard of. He was in Evolution. He was the mayor in that movie. The Great Outdoors, to name another one. Harold Ramis was more of a writer, but he was in Stripes, Ghostbusters. He made some guest appearances in Airheads, As Good as It Gets, Knocked Up. Rick Moranis, we all know him. He always played a nerdy character in Little Giants.
Nope.
Ghostbusters 1 and 2. The Flintstones, he was Barney Rubble.
No.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, he was the dad.
That one I know.
Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. Honey, I Shrunk Ourselves, which should have never been made. Sigourney Weaver. Obviously, Aliens, Alien 3. Ghostbusters 1 and 2. The movie Dave, Vantage Point. Who else am I forgetting here? Oh yeah, Ernie Hudson. We know him from The Crow. Not one of my favorites. And I think he was in some other show called, what was that jail show? Oh, what was the name of that? Okay. Sorry for that brain cramp. He was in the show Oz. And no, I never watched it. He was also in the movie Congo, and he was also in Airheads. And to get back to 1984, The Natural was a big one. Gremlins, oh yes, and Indiana Jones, The Temple of Doom. And
Gremlins came out that year?
Gremlins came out that year too, yes. It did not pop up at first, so there were some other movies that just didn't load yet. But Gremlins popped up, and so did Indiana Jones and The Temple of Doom.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. It was a big year. I wouldn't even know where to start. It better have been really bad weather to see all these movies, because these are long too. These aren't short little clips. I mean, these movies were over 2 hours long.
You were a baby. I don't think it really would have mattered to you, at least, or your parents.
Well, yeah, that's kind of who I'm talking. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking. Obviously, I forgot a very important actress. Ann Potts is in this. The secretary with the red hair that's very sarcastic and yells at the customers. And
Is she like that in all her things that she plays in, though? Because she was like that in Young Sheldon.
I'd have to see some of her other stuff. She was in a show called Dangerous Minds.
I didn't watch that.
Probably try to watch that because the movie was good, but I think she would have played that part real well. I'm assuming she probably was. But yeah, she was very sarcastic in this. We all know her from Mima, from Young Sheldon. She played that part incredibly well, too. And again, I'd have to get back to you on Dangerous Minds. I'd have to watch the only season that it had. I don't think that was really her fault.
No, it's whole thing. A lot of good shows only have one season.
So to get back to Ghostbusters, yes, there's a lot to cover because the visuals were new for this time. So yes, the special effects were terrific. The acting was really good. Obviously, this was a comedy ghost movie. There are parts that would scare children because I was one of them. I hate to admit it, but yes, I was scared of the librarian at the beginning of this movie.
You're a baby.
Yeah, I kind of was.
Well, you were a baby when this came out, so I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, this movie was. Yeah, there was also a cartoon.
You weren't even a year old yet, were you?
No, I wasn't. And the cartoon, and I was used to watching the cartoon as a kid. So when my parents taped this, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't understand why there were real humans playing in the movie. And then when I saw Zool for the first time, it scared me. And then again, seeing the librarian scared me as well. So yeah, there are some parts that are scary, but then watching it later on, you realize it's funny.
Oh my god. I'm getting married to a baby.
Oh yeah, I'm sure things scared you too, so I don't want to hear
No.
it.
I watched SVU when I was 6 years old. I'm pretty sure I don't get scared easily.
You watched what?
Law and Order.
There's nothing scary about ghosts doing things to people in this too, but I think that's to control the overpopulation. So anyways, let's get back to this. So they are paranormal researchers at a college, a dumpy college. They don't really name it, but they end up getting called to a library. They take pictures, yada yada yada. They go back to the college, and it turns out they think they're going to be rewarded, and they end up getting canceled. The college takes out their stuff, so now they don't have any resources. They're done. The college gave them all the expensive equipment and cameras. They don't have that anymore. So Peter Venkman has the great idea of going into business for themselves. So now you have the police department, the firefighters, and now you have Ghostbusters. And they end up having to start from scratch. They have to get this. I don't know where they get the funding for it exactly, because I know they do something with Ray's parents' house. They end up getting money for that. But then they have to make a nuclear accelerator proton pack. So where they get the resources for that, who cares? It's fun. So they end up making that stuff to catch the ghost. They get a trap. They end up going to this firehouse to rent out or own. And then they end up getting a beat-up car that they end up fixing up. And it becomes the Ghostbusters car, which becomes very iconic. It's got little sirens on it. I got the car to show everybody. This is what it looks like. You probably know already, but that's fine.
Somebody has obsessions.
No, it just looks really cool.
Dude, you're obsessed.
It's not my fault.
My house is full of Ghostbusters.
They did a nice job marketing this stuff. That's not my fault. I would take advantage of people like me as well.
Oh my god.
So
I think we have to rethink this marriage thing happening.
Stop it. You bought some of this stuff, so I don't want to hear it.
Like what?
You bought me some of the Funko Pop mini puffs. I bought the original 1989 Stay Puft. Yes, that's all me.
So is 95% of the rest of this crap.
Yes. So now where did I leave off? Oh yeah, so the Ghostbusters car. So then they start to they even have a fire pole at their firehouse, which Ray does go down and have fun with. So so it turns out they get a Chinese dinner, and they've already spent money out of the petty cash state. So so they end up getting a call, and sorry, food break. So anyways, so they end up running out of money, and then just as it happens, they end up getting a call. They get then the alarm goes off. They go downstairs, and their first call is to a fancy restaurant. I'm going to show clips or a picture of that, so I'm not going to tell anymore. I'm going to get to the first clip right now.
Which is not the restaurant.
Which is not the restaurant. We will get to the restaurant, and Stay Puft is telling me something. Hold on, I got to fix that. There we go. Okay. I'll get to that right now. Okay, so this is the opening scene with the librarian, and obviously she sees all these. What do they used to call those card catalogs that just the drawers open up and the cards just fly out of nowhere? So yes, she now is pretty much pooping her depends. That hopefully she did not buy at Walmart because they would be used. So she obviously runs and she's scared, and obviously Ray Stantz at the college hears about this, and I will go into the next clip or picture if the YouTube AI doesn't arrest me. So we will get to that right now. It just wouldn't play.
I can't hear it.
Hold on. Okay, so this is when, Peter Venkman, Bill Murray, is
A douche?
Sure, he could be in real life, I don't know.
Oh, he doesn't everything he plays.
So at least in this, he might be acting here. I honestly don't know. He's trying to hit on one of his college students. He's trying to trick her into thinking she has mind powers. It turns out he just didn't want to zap her because he's trying to engage into some fun activities with her after class. So he only zaps the male student, which is fine. That's part of his game. So anyways, Ray Stantz, which is played by Dan Aykroyd, he comes in and pretty much tells him, hey, there's a possibility of a ghost sighting at the library. Hey, the library's got to be fun in some ways, right? So Peter kind of hits him upside the head because he
interrupts his date.
Interrupts his date or whatever you want to call it. So he wasn't
Inappropriate activities.
Inappropriate activities, which again, he might have been acting. He really may not have been acting. We don't know. And we don't know if he had a fist fight with Dan Aykroyd on the set of this movie either. He might have. I have no idea. But that might have been only Chevy Chase. But anyways, yeah, it was true. He fought with Chevy Chase on the set of Caddyshack.
The one I don't like, the douche?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
You was in Caddyshack?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he was the groundskeeper.
Oh.
So he gets word of it, so now they are on their way to the library, and they're going to meet Egon Spangler, who's already there, and he's played by the great writer Harold Ramis. Writer and at this time actor. And I will show you who he is in the next clip. I will show you that right.
I really think we're going to cancel this marriage thing. What happened in here, babe?
Why?
Because you're making fun of me again.
I am not making fun of you.
I say, ready? Ready? Get her!
According to some, these people are being really big babies. But they just saw a ghostly, nice librarian at first, and then they ended up coming at her, and then she ended up turning into something scarier than the witch from The Wizard of Oz.
That witch wasn't scary either, you big baby.
Well, she was scarier than the woman from The Wizard of Oz. I think she was at least in coffee commercials. This was at least, she looked like a ghost here. So,
Well, the witch wasn't a ghost in the Wizard of Oz, you bonehead.
well, I know that. I just said she was scarier. That's all I said.
You gotta know what's scarier than the Wizard of Oz? The evil lady that tried to take the dog. She was scarier than the witch. Oh, wait, she was the witch.
She was the witch.
Not in the beginning, though.
And that's true. So anyways, this could have been because she was in black and white. Black and white is scarier, in my opinion. So, anyways, so the ghosts scare these three people, and Harold Ramis was, of course, the guy with the glasses. In case there's some younger viewers that think Ghostbusters Afterlife was the first Ghostbusters movie. It's just in case. It can happen. So, anyways, they get scared out, and then a scene after that, the nasty, angry, no-nonsense dean decides to terminate their grant and kick them off campus. So now they are going off on their own, and they just got the money from Ray's house, and now they're getting the firehouse, which I am just about to show, which is actually really cool now that I think about it. So we'll get to that in just a second.
The next floor, and there's a full kitchen on the top left.
It just seems a little pricey for a unique fixer-upper opportunity, that's all. What do you think, Egon?
I think this building should be condemned. There's serious metal fatigue in all the load-bearing members. The wiring is substandard.
So this is the firehouse. So when Ray was selling his house, they all divvied up the money, and they found a firehouse for sale. So they get this rundown place, and obviously you can see that Egon and Peter Venkman, Harold Ramis and Bill Murray, are chatting about it, saying it's a little overpriced. And then Ray decides to use the fire pole, slide down, and he is very excited. So obviously they take this place. Now I was asked, where did these guys live before they got this firehouse? I have no idea. Maybe Egon lived in a science lab, which would make him probably very happy. Just playing with mold and fungus. Bill Murray probably... Well, there was no online dating at the time. So he was probably spending his time in the girls' locker rooms of the university. And Ray was...
Living at his parents' house until he told it?
Possibly, yeah. Or in some one-room apartment, just doing Ray stance things. So now the next clip or picture, whatever YouTube allows me to do, I will be introducing Dana Barrett. She goes to her her apartment, and she finds something in her fridge. Let's find out what that is.
What the hell's in her fridge?
You'll find out. So as you can see here, what an interesting fridge. What would you do if you saw that in your fridge? I thought...
Move.
And right before that, I missed the part where the eggs are actually cooking themselves right on the counter, and they came right out of their shells. So this is Dana Barrett coming home from doing her groceries, and she opens her fridge and sees some type of spaceship with a giant dog in it saying Zool. And then she screams and she slams the fridge. And now we're going to go back to the firehouse, and we're going to get introduced to the Ghostbusters car. And we're going to do that in just a second.
What kind of car is it?
I'm going to get to that during the clip. We're going to find out what kind of car it is because I just found out what it was. And yes, I'm embarrassed about that. So we're going to show that.
You can't park that here. Docks and brakes.
Like I said, I'm embarrassed. Because actually looking at the car now, I cannot believe I did not know that this was a hearse. Years and years of watching this movie, and I did not think it was a hearse. It's a
Did you skip that part of the movie every time?
No, but the siren threw me off, and I never actually looked at the curtains until now. All I did was pay attention to the siren and the cool-looking wings on it, and that's pretty much about it. I never even realized this was a hearse.
What did you think it was?
I honestly thought it was some kind of weird-looking cab or a cop car. Again, I did not think...
Cabs don't have sirens either, you bonehead.
Well, I don't know, an old little fire engine, an old little ambulance. I don't know. I don't know what year that car was. So I just thought it was something, not a hearse. But I guess they had sirens on hearses back then. Who knew? Okay, well, you learn something every day.
I knew that was a hearse just by looking at it.
Well, that's nice. So, anyways, we are about to meet Janine, the secretary, and I'm going to show her in just a second. Yep.
Okay, Rick, give me one eye outside.
So they get their first call to a hotel ballroom possibly even a restaurant in there. And on the 12th floor, there's a green gob ghost kind of thing that's pretty much invading the 12th floor. People complain about it, the owners know about it. They just didn't have a way to get rid of it until now. So they call the Ghostbusters. They show up. The guy says, I want this done as quietly and discreet as possible. Now, folks, from this clip, does it look like it's quiet or even mess-free? No, this is great. This is everybody's dream, is to wreck a snooty, snobby ballroom. This, to me, looks like a lot of fun. And as you can see, Slimer is just having a good old time, drinking whiskey and eating lots of ballroom food. So they decide to catch it and trap it, which they actually do. And it only costs them $5,000 to do it. Now, this is back in the 80s, so this is during the Great Reagan times. So they should have no problem paying this bill. But no, he complains about it anyway. So, I will show the next clip with the EPA now getting involved after the Ghostbusters get this new fame after this hotel restaurant fiasco. So let's get to that right about now. This is Walter Peck. The actor's name is John Atherton. You may have seen him in Die Hard. He was the newscaster that kind of gets John McClane's identity noticed from the robbery, from the thieves that went into that building. So in this, he's not a news anchor, but he's just as annoying. He's a EPA officer. So, EPA. Don't get me wrong, I like the Environmental Protective Agency. But this guy is, let's just say he is a DB. Let's say he's a jerk.
A douchebag?
Yes.
I called that guy a douche a bunch of times already. Why didn't you say douche?
Because I do not swear on my channel.
That's not a swear word.
Well, it's not, but it's...
Hell was a better word than that. Just saying.
I don't know about that.
Then douche?
Yes.
Yes.
So he is trying to... Now, I understand his concern here. Yes, they're using nuclear accelerators. Yes, they are storing ghosts in a weird type of entrapment unit. Or containment unit, for that matter. He wants to know where they're being stored and what's going on. So obviously he doesn't want any uncontrollable gases getting into the environment. Well, he also wants to cause a bigger problem here. He just doesn't know that it's going to be that bad. So we will see his little feud with the Ghostbusters throughout the movie. All it takes is one person to ruin stuff, and this is the one person. So I will show the next clip in just a few seconds.
What's with always saying bad words?
Well, she is gone. So this is Zool, and it just sort of possessed her. So now Dana is now officially possessed. And yes, Thursday night, I guess in this time, I guess it's date night. So Peter Venkman will have quite a first date with Dana Barrett, who he's been trying to get with since she found that thing in her fridge. So now she is the gatekeeper. So now we're going to find out who the Keymaster becomes. And I will show you that clip in just a couple seconds. So this character is Lewis, played by Rick Moranis. He's Dana's neighbor, and he keeps locking himself out of the room. So he has this party for his clients, not friends. He does this for tax write-off reasons. So he has a party, and he invited Dana. Well, an unwanted visitor showed up. Zool decided to show up. This is the male Zool. So now Lewis is about to be tracked down by this monster, and now he's possessed. So he is now captured by police, and he's thrown into a paddy wagon. And now he's brought to the Ghostbusters office. And let's find out what they hook him up to machines, and that's how they know that now he is not human, he is possessed. And getting them together would actually be a bad idea, because they are waiting for this Gozer person to show up. And that would be bad. So I will show the next clip in just a couple seconds. And this is what happens when the EPA gets involved and shuts things down. This guy just made a mess. He has no idea what he just did.
How does he become mayor of New York City?
I don't know. He just did. That will be for a later review for Frozen Empire. But yeah, spoiler alert. Eventually, he does become mayor of New York City, and that's a bad thing. So as you can see, what he does here, he thinks he's doing something good. Well, he just let all these ghosts out. Now, the good news is Slimer gets out, and he never goes back. So that is the good news. The comic Ghost has been released. Now, the bad news is it wakes up as you can see, the Keymaster Lewis escaped, so now he's loose. And Dana Barrett, who is the gatekeeper, awakes. And if these two get together, Gozer's appearing, and that's bad, because Gozer will take over the city and will destroy the world. We don't want it. No, it wasn't. Okay, I will continue. So the ghosts are released, and I will just show a couple more clips, and then I will do my review. That's cool. So obviously this doesn't really need much here, but the Keymaster and Gatekeeper are now together. So yes, now New York City is in a lot of trouble. And no, it is not because Rudy Giuliani is back in office. No, it's because Gozer's coming. And I will get to just a couple more clips, and then I will do my review. Okay, so
Stay Puff!
this is obviously the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And he appears because Gozer says, choose a destructor. So what you're supposed to do is empty your head out. Because whatever you think of is going to be the creature or thing that destroys you. So
if you think of a person that you care about, they're just going to come and destroy you?
pretty much.
Oh boy.
So what Ray decided to do was think of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. To me, he doesn't look that destructive either. To me, he looks cool. I was actually very sad when they were shooting him. And he also stepped on a church, and I got yelled at for cheering. True story. That is not a false... I can say that because it really happened. So, anyways, the 100-foot Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is now stomping on the city. So, obviously, they do shoot him a little bit, and I will just show one more clip because I have to, because this part is just great, and I will explain what actually happens. Let me just get to that last clip. I'm not going to totally tell you guys the end of this movie, but there's a fun fact here. John Atherton, the EPA guy, did not know what was going to happen to him. So what I believe Ivan Reitman told him to do was to run in the middle of the street and look up. He didn't know he was about to be dumped with 30 gallons of shaving cream. But he was. So he looked up and he was not happy. So yes, the EPA guy did get gooped up. Now I'm not going to say what happened to the Keymaster and Gatekeeper. I'm not going to say because the younger folks will have to watch this movie for themselves. Obviously, the older group they've probably seen this movie millions of times. So if I had to grade this movie, I would probably give it a B+ to A-. A B+ to A- because the special effects were fantastic. The story was pretty much original. You didn't have this anywhere else. This was no remake. The ghosts were great. The animatronics were fantastic. Everything. I don't know why you're so mad. In the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, it doesn't get any better than that. So yes, this movie does get an A-, and I believe it even won. I believe it did win some awards at the Academy Awards ceremony, but I kind of leave that part out because those are kind of ridiculous awards anyways. So I will leave it at that. This was a terrific movie. Watch this movie over and over again. And kids, watch this movie, please. Because these are movies you should be watching. The stuff today is straight up garbage. This is
Like Chris.
I am not garbage, I would like to think. Oh, sorry, Stay Puft.
You're talking to a toy. What do you call that?
Imagination at its best.
Okay, Chip.
So, like I said, you can probably find this on streaming, but I would honestly buy it for $5.
I think it was for $5 at Target or Walmart.
It was, yes.
We got it for Theo.
Yeah, what am I saying? Don't stream it. That stuff sucks.
We bought it for an 8-year-old, so
Yeah, exactly. And it's PG for, I'm sure, like sci-fi, violence, or some garbage they came up with. But yes, if your kid is a scaredy cat like I am, maybe watch them when you put on this movie. But I don't know what kids.
it is not scary, people. Chip is a baby.
Yes, that's true. I was one big baby.
You still are.
So please comment below, subscribe, and thank you for watching.